Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. This is Ultimate News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangoes of South Florida. And today's date is Tuesday, October 1st, 2019. Yeah, so, interesting stuff has happened. New laws have been in effect in the state of Florida and many others around the country. And of course, they had that 70th anniversary of the victory for Communist China, but still have problems in Hong Kong. And Officer Geiger, former Dallas officer Geiger, is found guilty to murder. Just wondering how the sentence is going to be. Expected to get appealed, of course. Haven't heard anything yet about the sentencing, but the way I look at it so far, manslaughter will be the key, unless there's more information pertaining to that.
Take that out of your way?
Yep, thank you very much. And what's intriguing too, what's intriguing too is that we got a lot of they try to use the Castro Doctrine as a defense. I'm like, what? It's a little bit ludicrous to be for sure, you know. So I'm just very disturbed in those areas, and there's a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of chaotic planet. People still want to do the thing what's going on in Venezuela. A lot of differences. The question I have: how come they didn't do secession after the revolution, and even when they declared a firearm-free zone, like all weapons of war belong to the state? That's Article 324 of their own constitution. That should have been a civil war right there, with all due respect. I always still say secession is a ultimate remedy. There are states out there that have like rich resources, including oil, that can really hurt the governments in there now. But whether if you like it or like them or not, I'm not making those statements. But I do find that mind-boggling that should have been done. But we may not know for sure, but anything can happen. So that's why I find it intriguing. Because the past has always been today's greatest teacher. When you have take away people's firearms, it can create chaos with the government. That gone bad. All you gotta do is study 20th century genocide and democide. Wow. So it looks like a bridge collapse. Looks like it's somewhere interesting. The bridge collapse. So yeah, you may hear some chatter. You may hear some waitresses and waiters coming by, management. Yeah, I'm at downtown Saloon, located at 10 Southeast New River Drive, South New River Drive East, in the heart of downtown Fort Lauderdale, right along the New River by the Andrews Avenue Bridge, which is still under construction, next to the jail. Well, enough of those ranting here. I'll be mainly talking about one topic, and it's a reference to impeachment inquiry from President Trump. And I have to agree with Ron Paul. You don't have to be a Trump supporter to be concerned. And I know many of the clowns out there, all the folks out there are going AWOL, going you gotta impeach this man, he breached his oath. But the people that want to pursue this are damn hypocrites. All you gotta do is look at the voting record and read the Constitution. It's pretty damn self-explanatory. A lot of these folks love breaching their oath of office, but they believe they are exceptional. Yeah, so they're saying exceptionalism is legit. don't have to say all the bunch of these clowns' name because a lot of you folks may know. And it's very disturbing when you have these areas. A lot of us see that as a distraction. I do. And also it could be right under our noses. You have to pay attention to that as well. Don't get caught up in one area. But one thing I read this one article from the EpochTimes.com. Came out today, and the actual viewpoint from an attorney named Stephen Meister, with a contributor. This is titled "Impeachment Stands No Chance of Success." So his commentary reads, under Article 1, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution, impeachment requires a 2/3 vote of the Senate. Today, 67 of 100 senators. Even all of the 45 Democratic senators voted for impeachment. 22 of the 53 GOP or 2 independent senators will have to join them for impeachment to succeed. But 12 Democratic senators have already came out against President Trump's impeachment. This puts the number of GOP or independent senators who must be flipped at 34. Given the political impossibility of impeachment, the question must be asked, why did House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California, hold a press conference announcing an impeachment inquiry? Indeed, why did she do so without calling for a vote on a resolution to impeach and without identifying a single crime Trump may have committed? More enigmatic, why did she do so before she had even read the transcript of President Trump's July 25th call with Ukraine President Zelensky, and before the anonymous whistleblower's complaint was released? Sounds like more of a leaker to me, what I got. For historical context, consider that House Speaker Newt Gingrich waited for Ken Starr's 4-year-long investigation of President Clinton to conclude before beginning an impeachment process against Clinton. Despite Starr's findings on Clinton's crimes, including perjury and suborning perjury, the senator refused to vote to impeach Clinton, though his felonies did result in Arkansas's law license being spent for 5 years and paying a $25,000 fine. Right-leaning pundits have opined that Pelosi's move was reckless in the extreme, the result of a partisan feeding frenzy fueled by a vantage stage Trump derangement syndrome, and her kneeling to the relentless pressure of the AOC-led radical squad, which they posit is now in control of the Democratic Party. Nancy Pelosi may be one of the most partisan politicians alive, but she's not inexperienced or ignorant, as in the squad. It is fair to posit that there may be some rationale not readily apparent to her actions besides just yielding to radical left pressure. The crime of which the Democrats implicitly accuse Trump is collided under Title 50 U.S. Code 3121, a campaign finance law headed contributions and donations by foreign nationals. What makes it unlawful for a foreign national to donate or contribute money or a thing of value. Those were quotes, so sorry about that. In connection with a federal, state, or state election, or for any person, including U.S. citizen, to solicit such a foreign, quote, contribution or donation, unquote. Democrats are saying that by asking Ukraine President Zelensky to investigate Joe and Hunter Biden, President Trump has solicited aid to his 2020 re-election campaign in violation of 50 U.S. Code 3121 and abused his power. As a threshold matter by the phrase of thing of value, it would seem the drafters meant cover in-kind donations to take that form of real or personal property, not a government investigation. But even if the things of value is read so broadly, which it includes a government investigation, still there is a question of criminal intent. which would be defeated if President Trump sought the investigation from some legitimate reason. But Clinton was not fulfilling any legitimate executive function when he lied under oath about his affair with Monica Lewinsky and suborned perjury to the same end. He was simply trying to save his own political hive. You can say that, absolutely. In contrast, Trump had perfectly appropriated executive motives for discussing corruption in Ukraine. The United States gave foreign aid for military defense against Russia to the Ukraine, and if Ukraine is corrupt, the U.S. taxpayer dollars is given to the Ukraine may end up lining some oligarch's pocket. Which, I'm not too clear about foreign aid. That's understandable. So I'll just let you know how I feel. And I will continue on here. Indeed, under Article 2 of the Constitution, Trump, as president, is the executive branch that has such an obligation to faithfully carry out the laws of the United States, which arguably requires Trump to ask Zelensky to investigate Biden. Remember, Trump is an elected ambassador. Exposed by Peter Schreiber in his book, Secret Empires, Hunter Biden, son of the then U.S. Vice President Joe Biden, in 2014 took a job for $50,000 a month consulting for Burisma, an apparently corrupt Ukrainian natural gas company. At this time, Joe Biden was vice president. Prior to Hunter taking a rich consultancy with Burisma, President Obama had put Joe Biden in charge of his administration's investigation into Ukraine's corruption. Hunter Biden's accepting a consulting job with a company already under investigation by his father created an impossible conflict of interest, which was only heightened by Hunter's past drug challenges and lack of qualification for a genuine consultancy in the energy business. That conflict reportedly led John Kerry's stepson, Chris Hines, to end his business partnership with Hunter Biden. In a videotaped January 2018 Council of Foreign Relations panel, Joe Biden brags that he got Ukraine prosecutor Viktor Shokin fired by threatening to withhold $1 billion in U.S. aid unless he was fired. Shokin was then investigating Burisma and Hunter Biden at the time. At the time, the elder Biden claimed Shokin was corrupt and omitted the fact that he was investigating Hunter. Interesting there. And they said Donald Trump did that, right? According to some of the mainstream garbage media. Interesting, right? Sometimes that's what happens when you got like these prostituting publications put the shoe, make sure the shoe fits in a different foot. So we'll continue on here. Rudy Giuliani has obtained a copy of an affidavit signed by Shokin on behalf of Dmitry Firtash, a Ukrainian businessman who funneled money to pro-Russian Ukrainian politician in a legal case pending in Austria, in which he swore that Joe Biden got him fired because he was conducting a wide-ranging investigation into Burisma Holding and Hunter Biden. Separately, even more serious allegations of corruption by Joe and Hunter Biden arise from dealings with China. On December 4, 2013, Hunter Biden joined his father on Air Force Two on a trip to China, where his father met with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Hunter arranged for Xi to shake hands with his father in the lobby of the American delegation's hotel. Less than 2 weeks later, Hunter Biden firms closed $1 billion in private equity deal with the subsidiary of the Chinese government's Bank of China, according to Schreiber. The deal was later expanded to $1.5 billion. In short, the Chinese government funded a business that it co-owned along with the son of a sitting vice president. How nice. President Trump's legitimate interest, if not constitutional duty, in rooting out corruption of U.S. politicians taking place in U.S. aid-assisted foreign countries does not cease to exist because the corrupt U.S. politicians happen to be a potential political rival. This is especially so for Mr. Trump, who was elected on a campaign promise to drain the swamp. So, A lot of cloak and dagger going on as usual. You have others doing the dirty work and want to blame someone else. And it's funny, I'm watching an idiot box here on NBC Nightly News. TSA warned travelers have 1 year to get a new real ID. Can we say unconstitutional? Absolutely. Trying to tell us what kind of ID we need. We have natural born rights, my friend. That's a form of neo-mercantilism in the airports. How cowardly is that? I will proceed. A trial within a trial. The potential for legitimate motive means the Senate's impeachment trial must include a trial within the trial. To impeach Trump, the prosecutor must prove that Joe and Hunter Biden were not acting corruptly, because if they were, President Trump had a legitimate interest, an interest of his own re-election, is seeking Ukraine to investigate that matter, which defeats any criminal intent on Trump's part. In that case, Trump was not seeking dirt on Biden, as Adam Schiff fantasizes. He was asking a legitimate investigation of Biden's corrupt acts, as is his duty as chief executive. Yeah, so I'll continue on here. Revelations from call transcript. As that were not bad enough, the call transcript shows that Trump was simply responding to Zelensky's overtures, not that Trump solicited aid for his campaign. Zelensky, not Trump, brought up draining the swamp. In response, Trump brought up CrowdStrike, the DNC server, and AG Barr, or Attorney General, not Joe Biden or Rudy Giuliani. CrowdStrike is a private cybersecurity firm that investigates the alleged hacking of the DNC server, concluding that the hacking was done by Russian ops. Some claim the U.S. intel agencies should have examined the DNC server themselves, and that the U.S. intel operatives themselves could have staged the hacking and intentionally left Russian fingerprints to frame the Russians. Trump's initial response to Zelensky's opening the door has nothing to do with Joe or Hunter Biden. And it is only in this segment of the conversation where Mr. Trump says, "Do me a favor." The favor being requested concerns solely the 2016 and the 2020 election. Then in response to Trump mentioning CrowdStrike and the DNC server, Zelensky brings up Rudy Giuliani, who Zelensky knows is investigating Joe Biden's have-gotten former Ukrainian prosecutor Shokin, who was investigating Hunter Biden and Burisma, fired. It is only in response to Zelensky mentioning Mr. Giuliani that President Trump says, "Good, because I heard you had a prosecutor who got fired." Trump continues. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution, so if you could look into that, it sounds horrible to me. Zelensky assures Trump that all the investigations will be done openly and candidly. After the call, under public questioning, Zelensky assured the public that he did not feel pushed by Trump. There was no discussion on the call of the U.S. aid. Trump did mention that he did not think. What's up, man? All right. That he did not think the U.S.-Ukrainian relationship was reciprocal, but took this place early on in the call when the leaders were discussing CrowdStrike and the DNC server. Although Trump had, before the call, ordered the temporary withholding of the aid, it is now reported that Zelensky had no idea at the time of the call that the aid had been withheld, and not only learned on the temporary withholding of the aid a month after the call, by which the time the aid had already been paid. Given that no investigation, as far as we know, was opened up by Zelensky into the Bidens and Burisma, the release of the aid before the story broke strongly suggests Trump's motives were legitimate. Otherwise, he could have continued to withhold the aid until an investigation had been opened. Interesting there. So, and I read those documents pertaining to that, and I haven't really read anything about pertaining to getting aid. But I will continue on here. Problems with the whistleblower complaint. The whistleblower complaint is a blockbuster. First, the anonymous filer had no first-hand knowledge. He did not hear the Trump-Zelensky conversation. More telling, the agency regulations of whistleblower form required a whistleblower to swear under penalty of perjury. that he had first-hand knowledge the form was changed since to eliminate this requirement. Second, the complaint is highly polished and professionally written, clearly by a lawyer or teams of lawyers. These two facts strongly suggest that the whistleblower complaint was a highly coordinated effort by anti-Trump government actors. It is not unreasonable to assume Pelosi, being a heavyweight Washington insider among the anti-Trump ranks, had advanced knowledge of this pre-planned effort and the filing. Interesting there, right? Okay, so non-transparency, I see. Rudy Giuliani's role. Some commentators have asked why President Trump said he would have both AG Barr and his personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani contact Zelensky's people. Giuliani gave the answer when interviewed by Laura Ingraham. He said first, he has proof the State Department had asked to get involved in the Ukraine, and second, that Trump is entitled to be defended against false information being leaked by certain Ukraine actors about Trump. Even one assesses that Trump's mentioning to Zelensky that the Ukraine ought to investigate Biden is corrupt. Because Biden could be a political adversary of Trump's, that not enough to justify impeachment. Article 2, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution sets a high bar for impeachment, treason, robbery, or other high crimes or misdemeanors. The founding fathers, right, you see? Fathers did not want a handful of lawmakers to be able to overturn that will of the millions of voters who elect a U.S. president. U.S. lawmakers cannot oust the chief executive by no confidence vote, as can Britain's parliament. In some, impeachment stands no chance of success. The number of GOP senators whose votes are needed cannot be secured. There's no precedent for classifying a requested foreign investigation into a political rival as a campaign contribution. And regardless, Trump did not possess criminal intent because Zelensky, not Trump, raised the issue of corruption in the Ukraine. Trump initially responded by raising the 2016, not the 2020 election. There are no quid pro quo as the chief executive. Trump was obliged to carry out all laws and ensure that U.S. aid is not corruptly diverted. The process, however, both investigation and the Senate trial will go forward. Both will place under public scrutiny Joe and Hunter Biden's dealings in the Ukraine, including a taped overt admission that VP Biden demanded a quid pro quo for not blocking U.S. aid to the Ukraine, the firing of the prosecutor that conducted an investigation into Hunter Biden and Burisma. Pelosi's strategic decision. So, like I said, it's a hot potato game, folks. Well, let's see what Pelosi's strategic decision. That's the question. Is it reasonable to assume Nancy Pelosi knows all this? What follows is that Pelosi made a strategic decision to sacrifice Biden's candidacy. The question we ought to ask, why? The Democratic Party's continued success is irrevocably tethered to the Obama legacy. Obama had ordered an investigation into Ukrainian corruption and put his Vice President Joe Biden in charge of that matter. Before Hunter Biden took the consulting contract with Burisma, Obama has not endorsed Biden's candidacy, though he was not the leading Democratic candidate and his VP. Indeed, Obama has shown he does not favor Biden's candidacy, reportedly having said, "Joe, you don't have to do this." Interesting there, right? Though Pelosi's impeachment inquiry will not result in Trump's impeachment, it does accomplish two things. One, it sinks Biden's candidacy now. Two, it creates a ready excuse for Democrats when Biden's corrupt dealings come out. They can call that a distraction to the real issue. Trump's corruption, even though exactly is reversed, the reverse is true. Plus, it's reasonable to assume that Pelosi knew one of the Southern District's most skilled and tenacious anti-corruption investigators was on the Biden matter, Rudy Giuliani, and that Biden's corrupt dealings in the Ukraine were coming out no matter what. Pelosi must have assessed that Obama's legacy and partnership, and perhaps the Democratic Party itself could not have withhold the attack ads and tweets Trump would have waged against Biden, he had secured the nomination. Announcing an impeachment inquiry, Pelosi assured that Biden would not get the nomination. The Democrats would be able to redirect the National Convention about Biden's corrupt Ukraine dealings to a dialogue about Trump's supposed corrupt solicitation of campaign aid from the Ukraine, and that that conversation would occur now, not up until Election Day. The impeachment inquiry, seen in this light, has nothing whatever to do with impeachment. Rather, it's a tactical and Machiavellian countermeasure designed to mitigate the political damage to the Obama legacy, grounded in Obama's failure to stop Biden's corruption, which Biden admitted to on videotape, including the specific admission that he corruptly demanded a quid pro quo personally benefiting his son in exchange for not blocking U.S. aid to Ukraine. He's an attorney, by the way, founding member of the Meister, Seelig, and Fine LLP, based out of New York City. Well, interesting little viewpoint, and a little cloak and daggering, which is being exposed. A lot of these folks are jumping on this bandwagon. Got a lot of dirt on them. They're wearing no clothes. You don't have to be a Trump supporter to figure that one out. I'm expecting blowback. And it won't be pretty for the opposition. And that many of you know how I feel about political parties. Not too keen of it. In addition, foreign aid should be terminated completely. But the bottom line is, there's a lot of links on here. You can look at the transcripts and all that, and you can read for yourself. It's been declassified by the whitehouse.gov. You can look that up, make your own judgments. I even watched that video of Biden at the CFR panel. A globalist stooge indeed. Well, as far as I'm concerned, he may have shot himself in the foot. Or Nancy Pelosi and his fellow Democrats stab him in the back, tell him to take a hike. Well, that is it. I'll just give him for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share it to social media networks. Your questions, comments, and if something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondence with decorum. I will leave the footnote on here pertaining to the Epoch Times article. And look at it yourselves and judge wisely. Alright, once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.